She shoved the door open so hard the frame cracked, and before I could even stand, she walked into my lake cabin like she owned everything inside. "Don't move," she snapped, shining a flashlight in my eyes. "I'm here for an HOA inspection." I stared at her, confused for a second, because there was no HOA anywhere near my land. My cabin sat on 5 quiet acres, deep in the woods, far from the town she usually terrorized. But Patricia Burke didn't care about facts. She carried her own world with her, full of rules she invented and power she thought she had. "You broke into my cabin," I said slowly. She lifted her chin. "I have the right to inspect any property under Pinecrest Shores. You're in violation." "Pinecrest Shores ends miles away," I said. "It ends where I say it ends." She said it like she meant it, walking in deeper, leaving wet footprints on my old wooden floor. She looked around like she expected to find something illegal, or something she could use to shut me down. She didn't even notice the small metal click behind her, my first warning trap, something she had just triggered by kicking the door. She tapped the wall with her flashlight. "This place is unstable. If it collapses, it'll be my responsibility. It's my land, my cabin. That's what you think." Her voice had that tone, like she was enjoyed pushing people, like she wanted me to snap so she could call the police and pretend she was the victim. She leaned toward the window, running her fingers across the latch, and I saw another tripwire shift. She didn't. "What was that noise?" she asked. "You tell me," I said. She turned around fast, and for the first time, I saw something new in her face. Not confidence, not authority. Nervousness. She grabbed her radio and pretended to talk like she had backup waiting. "Unit 3, the subject is refusing inspection. Send cars." The radio wasn't even on. She stepped back, her heel landing right on the loose board near the center of the room. A metal snap rang out, and a puff of harmless white powder burst up, covering her shoes. She screamed like something exploded. Her flashlight shook in her hand. "You attacked me!" she shouted. "You set off a trap. That is illegal. So is breaking into a cabin at night." She pointed her flashlight at me. "You don't belong here. This land is under HOA review." "By who?" I asked. "Me," she said. "I decide what stays and what goes." But her voice cracked again, and that's when I realized something. She wasn't looking at me. She kept glancing toward the back wall, like she was waiting for something. Like she knew something inside this cabin I didn't. And then it happened. A soft beep came from behind the far shelf. A beep I didn't recognize. But she did. Her whole face changed. She whipped her head toward the noise, eyes locked on the wall like she'd been searching for it for weeks. "You heard that, right?" she whispered. "What is it?" I asked. She didn't answer. She took a slow step toward the sound, breathing fast, like she had just found something she wasn't supposed to find, or something she was desperate to get before I did. She reached for the shelf, but I stepped in front of her, blocking her path. "You need to leave," I said. She shook her head. "No, not until I see what's behind that panel." "What panel?" She didn't even blink. "You think I don't know what your father kept here?" My stomach dropped. Because nobody, absolutely nobody, knew what my father kept in this cabin. Not even me. She smirked, trying to push past me. "Move, now." And in that moment, I understood something I never expected. She didn't break in to bully me. She didn't break in to control land. She didn't break in for HOA nonsense. She broke in because she thought something hidden in this cabin belonged to her. And whatever just beeped behind that wall was the reason she came here tonight.
She tried to push past me, but I blocked her without even thinking. Her breath hitched, and for a moment she wasn't the loud, power-hungry woman everyone feared. She looked desperate. "Move!" she said, quietly this time, almost begging. "I heard it. I know it's here." "You don't even know what that sound is," I said. "Oh, I do." Her eyes narrowed. "Your father wasn't the simple man everyone thought he was." My heartbeat slowed. She had no reason to know anything about him. He died 2 years ago, and he was one of the quietest veterans anyone had ever met. The kind who fixed boats at the lake, cooked the same 3 meals, and never raised his voice. Nobody ever talked about his past. "How do you know my father?" I asked. She didn't answer. Instead, she reached forward and grabbed the edge of the shelf. Her fingers were shaking, but she was determined. She started pulling on it like she knew exactly where to press. I grabbed her wrist. "Stop!" "You don't get it," she snapped. "If it activated, someone else is coming." Her words hung in the air like smoke. "Someone else?" I repeated. She nodded once, too fast, too scared. "If they get here before I find it, we're both screwed." I didn't like her. I didn't trust her. But the panic in her voice wasn't fake. She wasn't here to plant some stupid HOA violation. She was here because she thought the cabin held something dangerous. Or valuable? Before I could speak again, headlights flashed through the cracks between the boards. Not slow like a neighbor. Fast. Too fast for the narrow dirt trail. Patricia's face went pale. "They're early." "Who?" I asked. She didn't answer. She grabbed my arm and pulled me toward the dark corner of the cabin. "Turn off the lights, now." I didn't move. "Patricia, who the hell is outside?" She pressed her finger to her lips. "If you want to stay alive, be quiet." The engine stopped outside. A car door slammed. Heavy footsteps crunched across the leaves. Not one person, 2, no, 3. Moving with purpose, not talking, not looking around. People who already knew where they were going. Patricia was shaking so hard the boards beside her rattled. She didn't blink. She didn't breathe. Then the doorknob turned. Slow. Gentle. Like whoever was outside didn't need to break in. They had a key. My chest tightened. I whispered, "How do they have a key? This cabin has only ever had your father and the people he used to work for." I almost snapped at her. But then the door opened. 3 figures stepped inside wearing dark jackets, gloves, and the kind of confidence that comes from knowing the law won't touch you. Patricia grabbed my sleeve like she needed me to stay still or she'd break. The man in front looked around the cabin like he'd been here before. He checked the walls, the old furniture, the door frame she kicked in. Then he whispered something that made every cell in my body lock in place. He activated it. He must have left it behind. He. My father. Patricia leaned toward me, whispering so quietly I barely heard anything. "Don't say a word. If they realize you're his son, we won't walk out of here."
The 3 men moved through the cabin like shadows, slow and careful, checking every corner as if they already knew where each trap was. That alone told me they weren't random intruders. They were familiar with this place. Too familiar. Patricia's grip on my sleeve tightened. She was shaking, but she didn't dare move. I could feel her pulse through her hand, fast, uneven, terrified. The man in front stopped near the same shelf she had reached for earlier. He didn't touch it. He just stared at it, eyes narrowing. "So it finally beeped," he murmured to the others. "After all this time." Patricia closed her eyes like she already knew what that meant. The man behind him lifted a small scanner, sleek, black, military-looking, and pointed it at the wall. It beeped twice. His voice was low, steady. "It's live." Live? What the hell could be hiding inside a wooden wall in an old lake cabin? Patricia whispered without looking at me, "Don't breathe too loud. They'll hear you." I didn't understand their purpose or hers, but I understood one thing. She wasn't their friend. She feared them more than she feared getting arrested, humiliated, or exposed for breaking into my home. That meant these men weren't from the town. They weren't from any agency she could manipulate.
These were the kind of people nobody wanted to meet. The lead man stepped closer to the shelf. If it activated, that means the owner returned. Patricia's nails dug into my arm. Returned? I had been coming here for the past 3 months. Nothing had ever beeped. Nothing had changed. So why now? Why tonight? Another man spoke, his voice colder. We should check the perimeter. If he's here, he's hiding. Patricia's lips barely moved. Don't speak. Don't even shift your weight. 2 of the men left the cabin to check outside. Only one stayed, standing barely 6 feet from us. He scanned the room again, and for a second his flashlight passed so close to our hiding spot that Patricia stopped breathing altogether. I knew we couldn't stay hidden long. One wrong move, one cough, one squeak from an old wooden board, and they'd find us. The man inside stepped toward the window, talking into his earpiece. North side clear. If he's nearby, he's staying low. Patricia slowly leaned to my ear. They're not looking for you. They think your father is alive. My stomach twisted. That's impossible, I whispered back. I buried him. I know. They don't believe it. They never did. Before I could ask what she meant, a sudden heavy thud hit the front porch, like someone had thrown something against the door. The man inside spun around instantly, hand sliding toward the weapon under his jacket. A second thud. Then a scraping sound. Slow. Dragging. Patricia's breathing grew ragged. This is bad. This is really bad. What is it? I whispered. She shook her head. I thought it was just them, but if that sound is here, he wasn't the only one who left things behind. What things? She didn't answer. She just mouthed one word. Run. But we couldn't. The man inside stood exactly between us and the exit, and outside, whatever was dragging across the porch didn't sound human. It sounded heavy, metallic, as if something old had awakened. The man inside raised his weapon, not at us, but at the door. The dragging stopped. Silence. Then something hit the door with a force so strong it rattled the entire cabin, knocking dust from the rafters. Patricia covered her mouth to keep from screaming. The man stepped closer, raising his gun higher. Identify yourself. Bang! The door blew inward, splintering into pieces. Patricia grabbed my shirt with both hands. Don't move. Whatever comes through that door can't see you first. The door didn't just break. It shattered into the room like something had hit it with full force, blowing in splinters and cold night air. The man inside lifted his gun toward the opening, but even he seemed unsure what he was aiming at. Patricia clung to my shirt so tightly her fingers dug into my back. For 3 long seconds, nothing moved. Just wind. Just silence. Then a metal shape rolled across the floor, round, dented, old. It stopped right in front of the man's boots. He looked down, confused for half a breath, and froze. It was a canister. Not modern, not military. Homemade. Patricia's eyes widened in horror. No! No, no, no! The canister popped with a faint click. Smoke burst out, thick, silver, choking the room in seconds. The man shouted something, but the smoke swallowed his voice. He fired blindly toward the doorway, but whatever had thrown that thing wasn't there anymore. He stumbled, coughing, trying to reach the window. His radio crackled with voices from outside. Unit 1, move! Move out! Don't breathe it! Static swallowed the rest. Patricia pulled her sweater over her nose. Stay low. Don't breathe it in. What is this? I whispered. Your father's last message, she said, and for the first time she sounded like she was about to cry. The smoke stung my eyes, but didn't burn like gas. It was something else, something meant to blind, not kill. The man inside fell to one knee, coughing hard, slamming his shoulder into the wall as he tried to stay conscious. Outside, the other 2 men shouted orders, boots pounding across the porch. They weren't coming in. They were retreating. Retreating. From my cabin. Something was very wrong. The smoke swirled, shifting like it had a mind of its own, forming quick, sharp shapes before dissolving again. And then right through the densest part of it, a silhouette appeared. A person. Not large, not heavy, moving with a slow, deliberate calm like he had all the time in the world. The man on one knee raised his gun again, but the smoke blurred his aim. "Stop!" he coughed. "Identify your—" A hand shot out from the smoke, grabbed his wrist, twisted, fast, clean, painless, but final. The gun dropped to the floor. The figure didn't hurt him further, just disarmed him with a precision that felt disturbingly familiar. Patricia's eyes widened in horror. No, 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 no. Training, precision, calm control. The figure finally stepped forward into a sliver of moonlight, not enough to see a face, but enough to recognize the stance. I couldn't breathe, because I had seen that stance in old photos, in military plaques, in the way he stood in every memory I had. It was impossible. But everything about the moment screamed the same unbelievable truth. Patricia leaned toward me, voice shaking. "Your father didn't leave you this cabin to keep you safe. He left it because he knew someone would come look for him." "No," I whispered. "This isn't real." Her hand trembled as she gripped my arm. "Your father didn't just scare them. He warned them." "Why?" I whispered. "Because when those men get scared, the whole woods becomes a war zone." I resisted. "Patricia, what's behind that shelf? Why do they want it?" She looked at me with a mix of fear and regret. "That beep you heard earlier, it wasn't a signal. It wasn't a message. Then what was it?" "It was a timer." "Timer for what?" She swallowed hard. "For something your father hid. Finally waking up." Before I could question anything, a loud crack echoed from outside, the sound of someone loading a rifle. Patricia's eyes went wide. "They're not trying to catch him anymore. They're trying to stop him, and they'll shoot anything that moves." She pulled harder. "Move, now, before they decide you're him."
Patricia didn't wait for my answer this time. She yanked me toward the back door with a force I didn't expect from someone who looked like she panicked at HOA paperwork. But fear changes people. And right now, she was operating on pure survival. The cabin groaned as the men outside circled it. I could hear whispering, the crunch of boots, metal sliding, guns being raised. Patricia pressed her ear to the back wall, listening for a gap, a blind spot, anything. "They're splitting up," she whispered. "One on the porch, one by the trees, one moving to the side window." "How do you know their pattern?" I whispered back. She didn't answer. She just mouthed, "Training." The same word she used about my father. Before I could process what that meant, a beam of light swept across the front of the cabin, cutting through the smoke like a blade. A man shouted, "He moved left! I heard it! Cover the back!" Patricia cursed under her breath. "We don't have time." She kicked the old back door twice, but the swollen wood wouldn't budge. She pushed harder, shoulders shaking. "Come on, come on." I moved beside her, braced my foot, and slammed my weight against it. The frame cracked. Another shove, and the whole panel fell outward, landing in the dirt. Cold night air rushed in. "Go," she said. We slipped outside into the darkness behind the cabin. The woods stretched out around us, deep, silent, and dangerous. The lake shimmered far behind the trees, just visible through the thin fog. "Stay low," she whispered, crouching behind a fallen log. "If they spot us, they'll assume he's with us." "That thing that came in the smoke," I said, still trying to catch my breath. "You think that was my father?" She didn't look at me. She told me, "I think someone wanted you to believe that." "But you said they never believed he died." "That doesn't mean he's alive. It means they think he left something unfinished." Before I could ask more, a beam of light swept across the back of the cabin. One of the men stepped into view. He moved slowly, scanning the forest, gun raised. Patricia grabbed my hand again and whispered, "Don't move." The man paused, listening. Every insect, every rustle, every breath felt too loud. Patricia leaned in so close, her lips brushed my ear. "Look at his left arm." I followed her gaze. His sleeve was rolled slightly, revealing a tattoo, small, precise lines in a pattern I didn't recognize, but she did. Her body tightened like a wire pulled too far. "They're not here for you," she whispered.
They're here for the code. My stomach dropped. What code? The one hidden behind that shelf. Something snapped behind us, a twig. Light swung our way. Patricia grabbed the back of my jacket and dragged me deeper behind the log, almost throwing me down into the leaves. The flashlight beam passed inches from my face. After a long, tense moment, the man turned away and moved toward the side of the cabin again. Patricia exhaled shakily. We don't have time. We have to move before they search the woods. Move where? I asked. She pointed deeper into the trees. There's a narrow trail your father built. It leads to the lake, an escape path. How do you know that? Her eyes met mine for the first time since the chaos started. There was no fake authority, no entitlement, no HOA attitude left. Just guilt. I helped him build it. My heart stopped. What? She tightened her jaw. Your father and I worked together long before you were born. He wasn't just some quiet veteran living off-grid. He was guarding something. Something those men were supposed to destroy. You're lying. I wish I was. Leaves rustled to our right. Heavy steps again. Closer. Run, she said. If they catch us, they'll force you to open that wall, and they'll kill us after. She crawled forward into the trees. I followed, staying low, trying not to snap any branches beneath us. The woods swallowed the cabin behind us, but not the danger. Lights flickered between the trunks as the men spread out. Patricia whispered, "Stay close. The path is narrow." As we crawled through the darkness, I finally asked, "What does the code unlock?" She stopped crawling, stopped breathing, then whispered the most terrifying answer she could have given. Not what. Who? Branches cracked behind us, this time much closer, much faster. Patricia grabbed my wrist. That beep didn't mean something woke up. It meant someone was coming for it.
We dropped lower as the footsteps behind us grew sharper, quicker, cutting through the leaves with purpose. Patricia didn't look back. She just pushed forward, crawling under branches and ducking behind thick bushes like she'd traveled this trail 100 times. The forest air was freezing, carrying the smell of wet soil and lake water, and something metallic in the distance. She stopped suddenly and grabbed my arm. "Stay still." I froze. The beam of a flashlight slid across the trees just a few feet behind us. A silhouette followed it. Tall, steady, moving with the same calm confidence the others had inside the cabin. Patricia whispered, "That one? He's the tracker. He can hear better than he sees." The man paused, tilting his head like he was listening for a breath. I held mine until my lungs burned. Patricia didn't breathe at all. After a full 10 silent seconds, the man kept walking, but slower now, scanning the ground. He was on our trail. Patricia waited exactly 3 heartbeats after he moved, then whispered, "Go forward, slow. Don't touch the dry leaves." We moved again, deeper into the trees, until the flashlight was just a faint ghost behind us. The cold air squeezed between the pine trunks, and the darkness felt thicker, like we were crawling into something hidden from the rest of the world. My voice was barely a breath. "You said the code unlocks a person. Who?" She shook her head once, eyes sharp but scared. "Your father locked someone away, someone dangerous." "You're telling me he imprisoned a person inside my cabin wall?" "No," she whispered. "He imprisoned a person using what's behind it." "Why didn't he tell me?" "Because if you knew, you'd be hunted too." The distant crack of a stick snapped through the woods, closer than before. Patricia flinched, then pointed ahead. "There," she whispered. "See that dark gap? That's the tunnel." I didn't see anything at first, just tangled roots and undergrowth. But a few feet away, hidden behind hanging moss and a fallen tree trunk, a small square hole sloped downward into the earth. A tunnel. Man-made. Old. And perfectly hidden. "How long has this been here?" I asked. "Before you were born," she answered. "Your father built it when he left the program." "What program?" She didn't get a chance to reply. A sharp whistle cut through the trees, one of the men signaling the others. Patricia's face drained. They found the trail. Get inside now. She pushed me toward the opening. I slid into the tunnel first, my boots scraping against the dirt slope. The air inside was colder, almost sterile. Patricia followed, pulling a camouflaged flap of branches over the entrance. The world above dimmed, but the sound of footsteps didn't. 3, maybe 4 men were moving fast now, crashing through the trees without caution. They're coming straight toward us, I whispered. They won't see the entrance, but they can hear us if we panic. The tunnel was narrow, barely wide enough for us to crawl side by side. The walls were lined with old wooden beams, reinforced with metal plates I'd never seen before. Whoever built this wasn't hiding from animals. This was built to hide from trained men. We crawled for almost a minute, breathing shallow, moving slow. The tunnel curved deeper underground, away from the cabin and toward the lake. Then the steps above us stopped, right over our heads. Shadows moved over the thin dirt ceiling. Dust fell onto my hands. Someone knelt above the tunnel entrance, silent, but close enough that I could hear their breath. Patricia froze, eyes wide. The man above tapped the ground once, twice, then a third time, slow, rhythmic, like a code. Patricia whispered, "Oh no, he knows." "Knows what?" I whispered back. "That your father built escape routes. And if they know that, they'll know where it leads." I felt the cold sink deeper into my chest. "The lake." She nodded once. "And they'll cut us off." I started crawling faster, but Patricia grabbed my wrist. "Calm. If we make noise, we're done." We crawled in silence for another 30 feet until the tunnel began widening. Light seeped in from the far end, a thin blue glow from the moon over the lake. But before we reached it, Patricia stopped again. Her hand hovered over a thin wire stretched across the dirt. A trap. She whispered, "Don't touch it." The tunnel had 2 paths, left and right. The left one looked smooth, clean, almost inviting. The right one looked old, collapsed in parts, muddy. She pointed to the ugly one. "Go right." "Why? Left looks clear." "That's why they expect you to take it." We crawled into the darker path. Dirt clung to our clothes, the wooden beams creaked, and my shoulders brushed against rough stone. The tunnel got narrower, colder, more claustrophobic. Behind us, the faint echo of footsteps returned. They were inside the tunnel. Patricia swore under her breath. "They split up. One took the left tunnel. And the others? They'll wait at the lake." "Then we're trapped." "No," she said. "Your father gave you one thing they don't know about." "What?" She pointed at the end of the tunnel. A faint wooden outline appeared, a panel built into the wall. "Push it," she said. I pressed my hands against it, expecting it to move. It didn't budge. "Harder," she whispered. I pushed again. Still nothing. Patricia squeezed my arm, fear shaking her voice. "They're getting closer. Try the side edges." I ran my fingers along the frame until they brushed a cold metal ridge, something carved into the wood. It wasn't a handle. It was a symbol I had seen before, on my father's old military dog tags. When I pressed it, the panel clicked, then slid open silently. Cold lake air blasted in. Patricia exhaled in relief. "Good. You remembered." "I didn't even know what it was," I whispered. "You didn't have to." We crawled out of the tunnel and onto a narrow wooden platform under the dock, completely hidden from above. Moonlight rippled across the lake. The water looked deep, dark, and freezing. I looked back at the tunnel. "What do we do now?" Patricia pointed to a small metal box attached under the dock beams.
Your father left a way across the lake. If it still works." A voice echoed from the tunnel behind us. Closer. "Check the right side! He's here!" Patricia's face turned white. "Open the box, quickly!" I reached for it, flipped the rusted latch, and froze when I saw what was inside. Because it wasn't a tool. It wasn't a key. It wasn't any device I recognized. It was a small folded sheet of metal engraved with a single line of text. My father's handwriting. 3 words. "Don't trust her."
Patricia's breath hitched when she saw the metal sheet in my hand. Her eyes flicked from the message to my face, then back to the dark tunnel behind us where the men were closing in. "What does it say?" she whispered. The moonlight hit the engraving perfectly. I didn't hide it. I held it right where she could see the words. Her expression didn't crack. Not shock, not confusion, not even fear. Just a slow, careful blink. "Your father didn't mean that," she whispered. The footsteps in the tunnel grew louder, boots scraping stone, panting breaths bouncing along the walls. Any second now, they'd reach the exit. I held the metal sheet tighter. He carved this with his own hand. "No," her voice sharpened. "He left me in charge of protecting you. He trusted me. Then why didn't he tell me about you?" She didn't answer. Instead, she crouched low and grabbed the metal box, forcing it open further, searching beneath the folded sheet. "I don't know what game he's playing," she muttered, voice trembling now. "But listen to me. If you want to survive tonight, you follow me." Another echo boomed through the tunnel. A man shouted, "He's near the dock!" Water rippled under us. Our time was almost gone. I stepped back from her. Just one step, but enough to show I'd read the message exactly the way my father intended. And finally, something in her facade slipped. Her jaw clenched. Her breath quickened. She looked angry. No, cornered. "Think. Why would I save you from them? Why would I run with you? Why would I risk my life?" "I don't know," I said. "You tell me." Her silence said everything. Too much. The tunnel behind us shook as someone bumped into the wooden beams. Patricia looked over her shoulder, panic lighting her face. But when her eyes came back to me, that panic was replaced by ice. "You don't understand what's at stake. Your father didn't tell you the truth about me, about the project, about the person he locked away." I stepped backward again, my foot hitting cold water sloshing beneath the dockboards. "And you do?" I asked. "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Because I was there." The tunnel exit suddenly glowed with flashlight beams. A voice shouted, "I see them!" Patricia grabbed my wrist, hard. "Get in the water." "No." She yanked harder. "If they catch you, you'll wish you drowned." Her grip tightened like iron. That's when I realized something. She wasn't trying to save me. She was trying to take me with her. The metal sheet in my other hand pressed into my palm. "Don't trust her." I ripped my arm away. "Let go." But she didn't. Her fingers dug deeper, nails pressing into my skin. "Don't be stupid," she whispered, yelled. "You're coming with me, now!" The men were seconds away. One of them shouted, "They're under the dock!" Patricia leaned in close, her face inches from mine, whispering so fast the words almost tangled. "If I don't bring you in, I die. Don't you get that?" My blood ran cold. Her next words were even worse. "And trust me, my death will be much kinder than what they'll do to you." The tunnel went silent. No footsteps, no voices, just heavy breathing
and the soft slosh of lake water. Then, a gun clicked. Someone was already below the dock, crouched in the shadows, close enough that I could feel the barrel's presence before I saw it. A deep voice growled, "Both of you, don't move." Patricia's eyes widened. She looked like she wanted to run, but she couldn't, not with the hand still clamped around my wrist. The man stepped closer, emerging from the darkness. Huge, black jacket, face covered. He wasn't one of the ones I saw at the cabin. He was worse. Patricia whispered, voice cracking, "No, not him." He raised the gun slowly, aiming it at me. "You, come with me." Patricia screamed, "No, he's mine!" Then she launched herself at him, fast, feral, desperate. They crashed into the beams, the dock shaking violently as they fought in the shadows. His gun fired once, the blast echoing across the lake. I stumbled backward, slipping on the wet wood, and fell straight into the freezing black water. The shock hit me like a punch. My lungs seized. I kicked desperately, boots dragging me down. The moonlight warped above me as bubbles streamed past my face. Through the water, muffled and distorted, I heard yelling, shouting, another gunshot. But then, something else. A splash. Someone was coming in after me. Not to save me. To make sure I never resurfaced. I kicked harder, forcing myself deeper, away from the reaching shapes above. And that's when I saw it down below, far beneath the dock, hidden in the lake shadow, a faint green glow. Small, steady, artificial. Something my father built. Something waiting for me.
The green glow pulled me deeper before I even realized I was swimming toward it. My lungs burned, pressure tightening around my ribs. But something inside me whispered that this light wasn't danger. It was guidance. A memory flashed, my father's voice years ago, quiet but firm. If anything ever goes wrong out there, don't run to people. Run to the lake. The lake knows what to do. Back then I thought he meant fishing or clearing my head. But he meant this. He always meant this. The deeper I went, the louder the chaos above became. Splashes, shouts, Patricia screaming my name, except it wasn't fear in her voice. It was anger, panic, possession. But the water muffled everything as I slipped further down, toward that strange green blink pulsing beneath the dock supports. My fingers brushed something metallic, a box, small, smooth, perfectly sealed, chained to the lower beams. The same symbol engraved on the metal sheet glowed faintly on its surface. A soft vibration buzzed against my fingertips, like it recognized me. I curled both hands around it and pulled. It didn't budge. I kicked again, wrenching the chain. It groaned, but held firm. My chest screamed for air. Darkness closed in at the edges of my vision. I had seconds left. My father's voice echoed again in my memory. If you ever find the lake box, don't open it. Just take it. I clawed at the chain one last time, and suddenly, a hand grabbed my jacket from above. For a split second, I thought it was Patricia, but the grip was too strong, too steady, too cold. They pulled me upward fast, my vision blurred in streaks of moonlight and bubbles. The water around me churned as the green box slipped from my hand. I broke the surface, coughing, gasping, dragging in huge breaths. The man holding me shoved me onto the lower dock planks. His mask dripped lake water. His gun was holstered. He didn't need it with the way he looked at me, like he already owned me. Before I could crawl away, he pressed his boot on my back. "Stay down," he said softly. His voice was calm, too calm for someone who had just been fighting. Patricia's voice broke through the darkness, frantic and breathless. "Where is he? Did you get him?" The masked man moved his boot just enough to let me breathe, but not enough to let me escape. Then he called out, "I have him." I felt Patricia's relief before I heard her steps racing toward us. "Good, good! He dropped the box, didn't he? Tell me he dropped it." He didn't answer. She crouched beside me, soaking wet, hair clinging to her face. Her hands trembled, not with fear, but excitement. "You went for it, didn't you? You actually touched it." I tried pushing up on my elbows, but the masked man shoved me back down with barely any effort. Then Patricia leaned closer until her breath hit my cheek. "That means it reacted to you. That means it chose you." "Move," the masked man growled at her. She froze. "Excuse me?" "Move," he repeated. "We're leaving." Something in his tone unsettled her. "I'm the one who brought him out. I'm the one who found the cabin. I'm the one who—" "You lost control," he snapped. Her face twisted in disbelief. "I didn't. I followed protocol." "Protocol is gone." Those two words hit her harder than a slap. Suddenly, Patricia looked small, lost, afraid of something far bigger than me, or the men, or even the lake. "Then what happens now?" she whispered. The man lifted his boot from my back and hauled me upward like I weighed nothing. My legs shook, my vision blurred, but I stayed standing. He leaned close to Patricia. "Now we follow his orders." Patricia blinked. "Whose?" The masked man slowly reached up and pulled off his mask. My blood ran cold, not because of his face, but because I recognized the scar running down his jaw. A scar I had only seen in old family photos, on one person, my father. Wet hair plastered to his head, older, rougher, more worn, but alive. Patricia stumbled backward like she'd seen a ghost. No, you died! They told us you died!" He didn't look at her. He looked straight at me. "You weren't supposed to come back here, but now that you have," he nodded toward the glowing water below, "we don't have a choice." My throat tightened. "Dad, what is going on?" He stepped closer and placed a cold, dripping hand on my shoulder. "That box you touched," he said, voice low, "it didn't just react to you, it woke up." The lake behind us bubbled, slowly, steadily, like something beneath the water had started to move.